Around 70% of the population has a defined sacral center. But if you're in the other 30%, like me, it means that you are not designed to keep up with the way the world works. And that might just be the reason that you have felt exhausted, burnt out, or like you're constantly pushing yourself to work harder than your body actually wants to. Today, we are diving into the sacral center in human design, whether it is defined or undefined. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand not only how your energy actually works, but also how to stop fighting against it so that you can find more ease, flow, and satisfaction in your life. I'm also going to share my personal story of growing up with an undefined sacral and a family full of generators and manifesting generators, and how that shaped my conditioning, burnout, and eventually my freedom and peace. So stay with me all the way through to the end, because this one shift could honestly change the way that you approach your work, your rest, relationships, and even your sleep. Hi, my name is Nina Elise, and I am an embodiment and growth mentor and a human design specialist. I teach you how to view the world differently by understanding how your brain, your body, and emotions actually work through the lens of human design. So now you can reduce anxiety, regulate your nervous system, and live a life that feels aligned, peaceful, and very deeply satisfying. So if that resonates with you, make sure that you hit subscribe so you don't miss any more videos that help you design a life that works for you instead of against you. Before we dive in, if you are new to human design and not sure whether your sacral center is defined or undefined, you can look up your chart for free on my website at nina-elise.com/chart. I will pop the link right here on the screen for you. So just pause the video, pull up your chart, and then come back so you can follow along with me. So let's talk about the sacral center itself, because understanding this center will shift the way that you see your energy. The sacral is located just below your belly button. It is the center of life force energy. So your creativity, your sexuality, work, your vitality. It's also a motor, which means it generates energy. And here is the surprising fact. It is the only motor in the human design system that provides truly sustainable energy. Every other energy source in the body graph eventually runs out, but the sacral can keep generating as long as it's engaged in the correct things. It is also binary, which means it responds with a clear yes or no. The sounds are very guttural, like for yes and for no. It is simple, primal, and pre-verbal, and actually very healthy and normal for generators and manifesting generators to make these sounds on a daily basis. But the sacral is not an awareness center. It doesn't explain itself, it doesn't rationalize, it simply just responds, which is why generators and manifesting generators are meant to wait for life to come to them and then respond with their gut. Okay, so let's start with the majority of the population, those with a defined sacral. So if your sacral center is colored in, it means that you have consistent access to this energy. You can work, you can create, and sustain effort over long periods, as long as you are doing what lights you up. And that is the key word, satisfaction. When you are aligned, you feel deeply satisfied and fulfilled, like your energy is well spent. But when you're out of alignment, you feel frustrated. That is the not self or shadow aspect of generators and manifesting generators. Frustration is your body's way of telling you, like, hey, you're working on the wrong thing. You are saying yes to things that aren't for you. And here is the ultimate trap. Because you have consistent energy, people will expect you to always say yes, to keep working, to commit to everything. But just because you can does not mean that you should. And a real life example would be something like, maybe you're at a job that drains you. And on paper, yes, sure, you can do it. You have the energy. But every day you start to feel heavier, more resentful, or checked out. And that is your sacral telling you, this isn't it. Or maybe you say yes to every social invitation because you don't want to disappoint people. But afterwards, you end up feeling frustrated, resentful, or just simply exhausted. And again, that is just your sacral giving you feedback. The secret here is to only say yes when you feel that gut, It is like a rising, energizing pool. And when you honor that, your sacral gives you almost endless stamina. And when you ignore it, burnout is inevitable. And another important thing that I want to note is that defined sacrals need to exhaust their energy every single day in order to really sleep well. So if you find yourself restless at night, it might be because you didn't actually burn through your energy doing something satisfying, which is why movement or doing work that you love or doing creative projects are so important for you. Now, let us talk about the undefined sacral, which is my world as a manifestor. If your sacral is white on your chart, you do not have consistent access to this energy. Instead, you may amplify the sacral energy of the people around you, which can actually make you feel like a superhuman in the moment. It's kind of like this like contact high. So you may be in a room full of generators and suddenly you feel invincible. You want to bounce off the walls. So you might start saying yes to more projects or more commitments or more late nights or going out with friends. But the moment that you are alone again, you may just crash. And this is where so much burnout comes from for manifestors and projectors and reflectors, because we think we are supposed to keep up, but our bodies are not built for it. So the not self theme here is not knowing when enough is enough. And that was me for most of my life, saying yes to too much, thinking I had to prove myself, running on borrowed energy, and then feeling absolutely exhausted. So I'll share a little bit of my story because chances are a lot of you are going to relate to this. I am a manifestor, which means that I do not have an undefined sacral. I don't have access to that consistent life force energy that generators and manifesting generators do. And I was also raised by a generator and a manifesting generator. So you can probably imagine what happened. I grew up in an environment where I was constantly conditioned to do. My worth was tied to how much I worked. I was told that success came from hustling, grinding, and struggling. And that if I wanted to make money, I had to work my butt off. And as a kid, it completely wrecked me. I was so tired all the time. So I would literally fall asleep in class almost every single day. And it wasn't because I didn't care or because I was lazy or I didn't like the actual schoolwork, but because my body just did not have that same fuel tank that my parents did. But of course, I did not know that back then. So I grew up thinking that there was something really wrong with me. Like, why could I not keep up? And why was I always so exhausted? Fast forward into my 20s and early 30s, and I was still running the same pattern. I would burn myself out with work, completely crash, then swing into massive rest. Then, because I wasn't working, all the old conditioning and belief systems got super, super loud. Like, you're lazy, you need to work harder, you'll never make money unless you struggle and work hard. So what did I do? I would throw myself into more jobs, push myself harder, make money, and then get burnt out all over again. It was this nonstop cycle and literal insanity. And it honestly wasn't until I discovered human design and started deconditioning that I realized I am not meant to live that way. The biggest shift for me came when I finally allowed myself to rest, to really slow down, to stop trying to match the people around me, to actually say no, to leave the party early, to give myself naps during the day, or even to sleep alone at night so I could actually rest without being in someone else's energy. And at this point in my mid 30s, I have finally found peace in knowing that my power is not in trying to keep up or doing all the things. It is in knowing when enough is enough. And that has been such a game changer. The wisdom of the undefined sacral is learning boundaries, knowing when to step away, and allowing yourself to rest. So here are a few practical tips for all of my non-sacral beings. First, naps are your best friend. Take them when needed and don't shame yourself for it. When you rest, you recharge. Next, try sleeping alone sometimes, especially if your partner is a generator or a manifesting generator. So see how you feel and if it has any effect on you. Third, create a wind down routine before bed. So stretch, read, journal, so you can release all of that energy that you have picked up during the day. This time period before bed is so essential to non-sacral self-care. And lastly, check in with yourself. You can ask yourself, is this my energy or am I just amplifying someone else's? And one thing that I have learned personally is that I am really great at Irish goodbyes. So when I'm at a party and start to feel overwhelmed by all of the sacral energy, I just slip out early. So there's no explanation needed. And to me, that is the ultimate self-care. And honestly, once I started prioritizing sleep and alone time and boundaries, my entire life shifted. I no longer feel like I am constantly using energy that I don't have. Instead, I can actually honor my natural rhythm. And that is where my peace comes from. So here is the big mindset shift for both defined and undefined sacrals. If you are defined, your power is in responding, not initiating. You don't need to figure life out in your head. So wait for something external to spark your gut response. If you are undefined, your power is in wisdom. You are not here to keep up. You are here to teach others when enough is enough, simply by living it yourself. Either way, the lie that we have all been sold is that hustle and struggle equals worth. But the truth is that alignment equals energy. And when you honor your design, whether you are defined or undefined, you don't just survive, you thrive. So if this is hitting home, just know that this is just the beginning. Sacral is one piece of the total puzzle. If you want to go deeper, you can download your custom human design guide called Aligned by Your Design. It is well over 50 pages and shows you how all of the pieces of your chart work together. So just comment aligned below and I will send you the link. And if you'd like to go a little bit more deeper into your personal human design chart, you can book a one-on-one human design reading with me. So I will drop the link right here on the screen and in the description. Now, I would love to hear from you. Do you have a defined or undefined sacral? And how do you notice it showing up in your life? Just drop your experience here in the comments. And just so you know, I read every single one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who might need to hear it. And the sacral is just one part of the puzzle. If you really want to feel aligned, you have to understand your whole chart. So click the playlist I'm linking right here and dive into all of the other centers. And I will see you all in the next video.